Sounds good.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 50 of Signal Boost.
Woo.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, should I turn this on?
Yeah, it's being janky. Yeah, hit it.
Oh, better. Yes.
Hey, I'm Jessie Sprocket. I'm the communications director here at The Generator.
I'm Alicia Dynamic, and I'm the education director here.
And this is Signal Boost. It's our Northern Nevada art and culture show where we just talk to cool people doing rad stuff out here in the high desert. And we're in our makerspace. And if you've never been to The Generator, it's in Sparks. It's like this far away from Reno.
Yeah, like
It's
you
right on the border.
could throw a rock into
Yeah.
Reno from here.
I could like stick my leg out the door and I'll be in Reno. But you should come check it out. It's 70,000 square foot makerspace. It's really gigantic and awesome. We have a bunch of studio artists and projects moved in, and Alicia's going to start teaching a bunch of classes.
Oh, am I? Okay.
I mean, that's what you told me today.
Yes, I am.
And it's cool here, so you should come down sometime.
Yeah, come on down.
We like to start off the show with doing a little "What's New with You," and I pulled up photos this time because we have cute elements. What's new with you? Bam! I'm using the Stream Deck, guys.
We got a Stream Deck, and we got it a while ago. We finally got it working.
Yeah.
By we, I mean Sprocket did.
Yeah.
It's working.
It's a lot of learning. Okay, the first what's new with me is that this morning I went to go check on my chickens, and our first ever baby had been born.
Oh, stop it.
I know.
Oh,
It just like
it's
popped
so
out.
fluffy.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The
miracle of life.
Miracle. Well,
The egg you didn't eat.
Okay, so the crazy thing about this is I don't own a rooster. So what's happening is that my neighbor's chicken, Bumblebee Tuna, has been coming over and laying eggs in the nesting boxes of my chickens. And now my chickens are raising her children as their own.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're going to have a lot of...
How did the egg get hatched? Did you just not realize it was there?
Oh, no, I knew that
You
Bumblebee was laying 4 eggs.
You knew it was Bumblebee's egg?
Yeah,
How?
because unfortunately I opened one once. So now I know which ones are Bumblebees, and I leave them.
Oh, you cracked it and you saw the embryo.
Yeah, Eric cracked it.
Oh.
It was a very upsetting moment.
Yeah.
So now we know which color eggs are Bumblebee Tunas, and we leave them, and there's like 3 hens sitting on Bumblebee Tuna's eggs right now.
Wow.
It's like a whole...
Oh, that's so sweet.
But she full on thinks, this is her baby. It is her baby. She, Bumblebee's
Listen,
not...
it takes a village.
Yeah, Bumblebee just leaves them. Like, she doesn't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
So this is her mom. Yeah,
Aw.
that's all.
I love it.
Yeah, they're really sweet. I drove home on my little break to just check on them, and they were in the run together, and the mom was cuddling her, and it was very adorable. Yeah, I'm really obsessed and very afraid that the cats are gonna eat this baby.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's new with me. And then what's new with Alicia?
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
so I got a new little building on my property. You could flip through these and then they would be able to see better, but and it used to be the control tower for the airport at Burning Man. If you've never been to Burning Man, there is in fact a airport, and they used to sit on top of a stack of 2 containers, and this is where they do the air traffic control for the event. And they built a new one that was more up to FAA regulations apparently, and the old one ended up on a ranch in the Spanish Springs area.
So dope.
And the guy that owned the ranch sold the ranch and this came up for sale on Craigslist.
Such a good find, dude.
Yeah, well, our friend Alex, who you hear us talking to sometimes, doing the computers, he found it on Craigslist and sent me the link and said, you should think about getting this for your property. And so I did. And then I totally renovated it, and it's a cute little studio now.
So is it going to be an art studio or a place for people to stay? Or
An art studio, yeah.
Yeah, she does metalsmithing.
I don't know. Well, I silversmith, and I was thinking I would put that in there. I'm kind of second guessing that choice now because it's so clean and nice in there. There's a part of me now that I'm thinking about just putting my desktop computer in there and doing robotics and tech stuff in there.
It could be your sex porch.
Whoa.
When you gotta get away from the kids.
Although
beautiful.
Merlin loves it. So
Yeah, of
he's
course,
in there
yeah.
now. But it's nice because it's like I can work on stuff in there and he can play outside and I can see him because there's all the windows.
That is really nice.
It's a gorgeous
So I'm excited
space.
about it. Yeah,
Love
thank
it.
you.
Super cool.
Yeah. Where's the
I
front?
worked on it 1 to 2 hours at a time,
Here's the front of the
one
control.
every day. I worked on it for like an hour a day for the past. Well, when was that? What day was that?
A week ago.
It was a week ago? Oh, I did,
Wow,
I did
you
it
made
pretty
it pretty fast.
Yeah.
Good job.
I worked on it, like there were 2 days when I worked on it for like a long push of time, but mostly I was just like getting up in the morning and painting for an hour before I went to work and then like coming home at night and painting for an hour before it got dark.
That's that project life. Is it just on the ground?
No, it's on little piers, little concrete pier.
Yeah, but not that far off the ground.
No, it's like
I don't know, man. I would want it to be hella high up.
maybe someday.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you could
built
always
to be
lift it.
craned because it used to be craned, so we did move it to where it is with our excavator from the top, like we hung it.
Yeah, you just hang it from the excavator and then you use a ladder, get in and out.
I mean,
Perfect.
you know, we're getting more chairlift towers next week from Heavenly. My husband has like a line on decommissioned chairlifts, so he's going to be getting them,
A line on them.
and he's going to be getting some more chairlift towers. So maybe we could build like a big structure to hang it from. It could be
Yeah.
That'd be totally weird and awesome. So it's a thought.
Love that. Except you get nauseous easily. Do you think if it rocked, it'd be okay?
Hard to say.
Just like rocking in there, all your stuff's like falling. Might
Hard
be
to
a
say.
problem.
Oh, thank you.
Who is it?
John Bryan. Yeah, it is a piece of punk rock history. It's cool, right? It's cool the provenance of it. So I was excited to acquire it and give it a new home and a new life. Because one of the things that I imagine doing eventually with my property, because I have some acreage up in Lemon Valley, and we're building a big metal shop there, and I'm kind of slowly kind of moving towards building it into sort of like an artist compound. And I'd like to let people do residencies there eventually, and I think this could be a cool space for
Heck yeah.
someone to do residencies in eventually when I have space in the big shop and I don't need it anymore.
It's gonna be epic.
Yeah.
I like that we both have like random just Burning Man stuff at our homes.
Yep.
I mean, it's not surprising.
Yeah, hit us up if you got random Burning Man stuff you're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, like just large,
We got space,
weird
we'll take your
things.
stuff.
We
If it's useful, we got space. If it's maybe useful, we could probably find space for it
yeah.
between the two of us.
I've got the Brahming, I don't know how to say it. Table and chairs,
table and chairs,
from
yeah.
no, it's Gulliver's Travels. No,
I don't know.
yeah, I think so.
It sounds right.
And then the pier, yeah, lots of Burning Man objects. But we'll take your
You have
sculptures.
a pier at your house?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, and it's
like 15 feet of it or something. Right?
yeah, with the little bait shop. I guess it was like it's not the pier that went to Playa. It's like a fundraiser pier. That they
Oh,
built.
okay. I was like, I sat on that pier.
Yeah,
That one's
that-
actually Fly Ranch.
Yeah, that one's at Fly Ranch.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
but I have like another pier and a bait shop, and we just drink out of it all the time. So
Nice.
less so this year. A lot during the pandemic.
Mm.
That was the vibe. Sweet. Let's introduce our guest. Will you introduce yourself?
Sure, my name's Epiphany Jordan, and I consider myself to be a social artist. I don't know if that's something you've had on the show before, and I am on a mission to redesign human touch.
Love that. So, can you define for our audience what you mean by a social artist?
A social artist is somebody, in my mind, who uses creativity to solve the problems of the world. So it's taking a creative approach to whatever issue it might be, and sometimes that could be doing actual art or writing or filmmaking or something. And right now I'm going to school to get a master's in public health to look at this issue. So sometimes it's going to be scientific, and it's just approaching it and attacking this from a lot of different angles. So
Cool.
yeah.
My roommate is always being like, I don't know if you know, but I have a degree in public health. So this is going to be great. He's going to see it. And I'd be like, what's up? Look, there's another one.
Nice.
Public health. But, Okay, so you're working on a master's degree right now.
I am.
What did you study in your undergrad? Was it related as well?
No, it wasn't. It was journalism. I
okay.
got a journalism degree from UNR in 19 mumbly mumble. And I just went back to school last year. It'd been 35 years. I was
Wow.
actually kind of shocked that they took me so fast.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm doing, there's a kind of this obscure branch of public health called social marketing, which is where you use commercial marketing techniques to create behavioral interventions for people.
Ooh, tell me more about it.
So, well, I'll give you an example of a project that I did in the fall semester. So the thing about, a lot of times with public health, they'll do some sort of intervention that's an educational thing. And educational information is great if the person wants to make the change, but if not, then you got to do something different. So social marketing is very much about doing formative research. It's about talking to your audience and figuring out how you can help them. So the project I worked on was about loneliness in the elderly, and our target population was people who were over 65 who lived alone, who weren't good with technology. And so after talking to people, we found out that like a really big motivator for them was helping other people. So we came up with this intervention that was a dog walking club. And so what we would do is we would have individuals like a dog handler who would go to the shelter and get a shelter dog, and then he would go to the elderly person's house and they would go take the dog out for a walk, and the dog would be wearing a little jacket so that, it said, I'm available to be adopted. And they say that, the elderly person wants to help socialize the dog, but really they're getting socialized by spending time with the handler.
I love that.
Isn't it sweet? I know. I would actually love to see. I mean, we just did it as a school project, but I'd love to see somebody adapt it. And then, they get fresh air. They get, there's a lot of elderly people who are scared to walk because, they're afraid that they'll fall down, or they're in a dangerous neighborhood, or, they're not comfortable with walking alone. And then they have like visibility in the community because they're wearing like a hat and stuff. And if somebody walks up and says, oh, I want to know about this dog, then, the elderly person can tell you about the dog's temperament and stuff. So it's really like a win-win-win, and get the dogs adopted. I know, it's really sweet.
I want to make that hat. I'm like, let's do this. I'll just quit my job here. Let's do this for everything.
Yeah, I might try pitching it to somebody in town, like pitching it to the Humane Society or something, and see if they want to do it. But we did all this research and figured out like how do you communicate with people, like people who are over 65 love snail mail, for instance. Whereas if your audience was somebody who was a teenager, then you do stuff on TikTok or Instagram or something. So it's about really figuring out, using commercial marketing techniques, how to get people to change their behavior. And the behavior we wanted them to change was to not be isolating as much. So
nice. That's super cool. I love that.
Yeah, I've kind of had to pivot to loneliness in the elderly just because public health doesn't look at human touch as something that is worth studying, as something that could help population health, and I see many, many ways that could work. So, yeah.
Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, let's talk about your thing. You're doing
Sure. What would you like to know?
Okay, so you are a touch therapist. Is that what it's called?
Kind of. I've done it in the past. I don't have a hands-on business.
Okay.
I did have a hands-on business that was kind of like professional cuddling, but not quite. It was called Karuna Sessions. I just moved. I grew up in Reno, and I just moved back here after living in Austin, Texas for the past 20 years. Yeah.
Oh.
So the business that we had was Karuna Sessions was a ritual of human connection. So it was always done with two practitioners, which kind of takes it out of that dynamic of one-on-one where it might feel romantic for some reason. And we had this really beautiful space, and the person would come in and take off their shoes and turn off their phone, and we would come out and we'd bless them and wash their feet and have them meditate, and Then we'd ask them to change into ritual garments. It was like an Indian kurta, which is like a tunic and pants.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd ask them to lay on the bed, and we'd do very light touch on their hands and face and feet and stomach, and do a little bit on their back. And then like kind of the main part of the session, we would have the person lay on their side, and we'd hold them in between us in a way that mimics the feeling of being held by your mother as an infant. And so it's like oh my God, mothers fucking loved it, because we're like, here, let us like make a deposit into your nurturing bank, and we're gonna give to you instead of like, mommy.
I think about that all of the time.
Yeah, I'd like to actually reopen it here. So anyway, so I was doing that and just kind of looking at this whole thing for a long time, and one of the things that bothered me about it was, it's a luxury. Our sessions were not inexpensive, and a lot of the people who need it the most can afford it the least. And so I guess about 5 years ago I started writing a book for single people about how to get your touch needs met, because we have this paradigm in our culture that touch equals sex. And so if you're not in a romantic relationship, you're definitely not getting, your touch needs met. And actually there's a lot of people who are in romantic relationships who don't get their touch needs met as well.
Absolutely.
So I put the book together, and I guess that came out about a year before the pandemic. And now I just kind of feel like people are really primed. It's like we've talked a lot about the pandemic as the Great Reset. People were really rethinking parts of their lives, and I think that this is a part of our lives that we should really rethink.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, like I said, this touch equals sex paradigm doesn't work for most of us.
Yeah, and it's also, right, the love languages, and for some people, like, touch is, like, the main love language, and then if your partner is not on that, like, it really can cause a lot of conflict, where it's just like, okay, but I need to be cuddled sometime,
Right.
like, you just, like, need that, like you're saying, to be, like, refill your cup, and then if your partner's unable to do it, because it's just not the same language for them,
And then it's
can be
viewed as, like, overstepping a boundary to go to somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah,
If
and
you
then you're
have that
just-
available.
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, even a lot of times if your partner is really touch-centric, it's like they go to cuddle and they're like, they want sex, because we think about that. So we don't have touch for comfort or stress relief or, respite or relaxation. There's all these other things that we could be doing for touch. And, like my thing is like, it's so good for your physical body. There are so many different things that it does to your body that are healthy. I mean, y'all know, you have kids. It's like that is it. If you try to raise a kid without touch, you will fuck them up.
Yeah,
They'll
really
die,
bad.
right?
They will-
That's true.
yeah.
We know from those.
I know.
There's like we don't want to get into that, but like
It's too sad to
literally
think
human babies will die if we
Yeah,
don't touch
yeah.
them, right? We know this.
Yeah. So why don't we do
So
this for
clearly,
adults?
it's like super important, and we don't think that
No.
it's not. We don't sexualize you touching your child, in this way. So we should be able to touch
Yeah.
other adults without creating this.
Even post-pandemic, I used to be so hugging people all the time, and I feel like I'm more open about that, just like touching people way more often. And then like I actually just like hugged one of our coworkers like a month ago or something, and I was like, I just really want to hug you today. And he's like, dude, you haven't given me a hug in so long. Like it was like that thing where it's like, it used to be just so regular to just hug the people around you that you appreciate, and now it's so novel. So
Well, spoiler alert, like even before the pandemic, there were a lot of people who were, who are super touch sensitive or touch averse, who don't like to be touched. And, a lot of times they'll like end up in some sort of alternative community where everybody's hugging and they're just like, get away from me, and people don't respect their boundaries and stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's good that it's become more cautious, that people are having to really kind of respect each other's boundaries now a lot more and ask about them for sure. And I think that, it's like it's still going on. I mean, like my best friend right now is like really freaked out about COVID, and he won't hug me. He comes over to my house and we elbow bump, and I'm just like, this makes me really sad, but I can't, I have to respect that boundary for you. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the pandemic definitely, there were a lot of people who were starved before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic hit, people were like, oh yeah. I mean, like, I was living alone, I was single, I went for walks with my friends all the time, that was how we socialized, but, I really felt the absence of it.
And you just proved your book. You like wrote the book, and then you're like, no, I need my own things.
Yeah. Here, actually, I can show you. I had to hide it because Jessie kept she's like, we don't like to know anything about the people that were working, that we're interviewing, and so I had to hide it from her so she wouldn't.
Sometimes we make the mistake of getting into talking to the people before it starts, and then we accidentally start to get answers to the questions, and then we can't react to them authentically.
Yeah, it's not as authentic.
So we try to not do that, but.
Also, it's cool you just moved from Austin. My other bestie just moved to Austin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and so I've been spending more time there, and I really like it a lot. It's cool. It's like a swampy Portland.
There's so much back and forth between Portland and Austin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I may go back. I have the option to go back when I'm done with school, so.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
How long did you have the business that you had there that you described?
About 6 or 7 years. It was, it was so difficult to market. It was like I'd have marketing people, and they'd be like, "So who's your clients?" And I was like, "Everybody."
Yeah.
It's like we had young people, we had older people, we had single people, we had married people. We had veterans, we had mothers, we had patients who people who had been sent by their therapists. All different kinds of.
I bet if you just get in with 2 or 3 therapists, that could fill all of your time slots.
Perhaps.
I don't know. I was just talking to a therapist. We did a Juneteenth outreach thing, and I was talking to this therapist, and she was like, "Oh, could I send people to you guys for art therapy stuff?"
Oh,
and I was
fantastic.
like, "We're gonna have classes one day," but she's looking for more resources for her people, so it seems like that could work.
Yeah, I'd have to figure out a workspace here. I had such an incredible space in Austin.
I just feel like you could do it.
Yeah.
I just really want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we do start doing it again, I am so calling you up to come over and guinea pig while I'm training my people, because we gotta, you can't. I've done one-on-one cuddling, and I just don't like it as much. I think it's more.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I've heard about the cuddle therapy, and I know people. I have a close friend who kind of dabbled in it a little bit, and
as a practitioner.
Yeah.
And what did they say?
She really didn't get very far along with it, so she doesn't have a lot of observations about it yet. She's thinking about trying to get back into it, but to do it, she kind of just started and then kind of stalled out with it. But so she didn't have too much to say about it yet. But we talked about the concept of it. You know? And it's pretty, and I think it's about, how there's a whole lot to with boundary setting and things like that. And I hadn't even considered when you said the idea of it being 2 practitioners. That really would make such a huge difference in the dynamic.
Well, it's nice too, because if you're somebody who is a mother who's just used to giving, having 2 people working on you feels like your royalty being
For
weighted
real.
on hand and foot. Oh, I forgot at the end we have you come out and have tea and snacks on the couch. So it's like,
oh man,
I know, yeah, it's
so
a very
nice.
It's a very complete experience. And it's funny because we had male clients who were I was laying there on the bed with y'all, and I really wanted to take it to a sexual place, but I just couldn't, see if they could get a boner, or, get turned on or something. And they're like, we couldn't do it because you were just too maternal.
That's good.
I know, it's perfect, right? because it's not, that's not what we're there for.
Yeah.
It's there's lots of places to get that. I mean, how you can like get it legally if you just
Yeah, it's not that
Yes.
far away.
ease on down the road a little bit. Yeah.
You just have referral cards. You're like, just go
Yeah.
down a Mustang.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of, in a lot of cases, it seems like even people that's not even what they, it's good, it's healthy for people. I think particularly like, it seems to be like for cis men, probably in a lot of cases, like it's good to have an opportunity to divorce those things.
Yeah.
To be in a situation where where it doesn't feel like it has to be
Yeah.
sexual.
we're
Like
feel-
like that. I think there's also a pressure to that can be removed by being in a situation where you're like, okay, I'm going to get this like need met of being touched, but like that's just off the table. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
considered.
And it's so funny because so many people have such a hard time with receiving. I mean, I've been in sessions with guys a lot where, you know, we're cuddling them and they're like, may I touch you? Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, can I do this with my hand? And we're like, no. We're like, just, you know, because it's like when you do
Yeah,
that,
I don't know
it
how
puts
to
you back in your head,
yeah.
right? Yeah, but it's like men are, you know, it's like
Yeah.
they're used to doing,
Yeah,
they're used to
yeah.
like taking that lead and, you know, just to be able to lay there and just receive and be like, let us take care of you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I fantasize about doing stuff like having, you know, kind of a digital detox where people would come for a couple of days and, you know, we take away their phone, their computer, the whole 9 yards, and they spend a weekend in the woods and get like 3 sessions to kind of get them back into
I
their
want
bodies.
that.
And yeah, I know, it's really great.
That sounds
it's-
so amazing.
Yeah. Hey, wait, no, now I'm looking at your little air traffic control chart.
It's very small though. It's
I
very
know,
small.
I
I did stay at an stayed in an Airbnb in Grass Valley though. That is the kind of place that I would host something like that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can pass along.
Yeah, maybe.
They do
Yeah,
some
I need
interesting
to,
stuff
I'm feeling myself drawn back into it. I mean, you know, people used to say, you know, is it draining to do that kind of work? And I was like, oh my God, no, it's like so deeply nourishing and satisfying to care for people on that deep, deep level, you know, that and take people into these places of deep relaxation. I swear to God, people would look like 10 years younger when we were done with them.
Right.
Did a lot of people have super emotional responses?
Sometimes some people would cry. A lot of times, actually, people would just fall asleep.
Yeah, that
And,
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they were just, yeah. You know, sometimes people would laugh. You know, sometimes people would get like a somatic response and, you know, like their arm would start shaking or something, you know, because I mean, we all spend so much time outside of our bodies. You know, it's not really, yeah, so.
How did you end up getting into that? Like, what was the
What was the catalyst for
yeah
it?
for you to end up starting that business?
So in like the mid 2000s, I became very, very fascinated with this branch of sacred sexuality called Kadishtu,
Okay.
which was based on the Babylonian and Sumerian temple priestesses, where the priestess would channel the goddess and the men would go to the temple and, you know, worship the goddess by making love to her through the priestess, right? And so I was studying with this woman from Atlanta, and her thing was, she was a pagan, and she's like, you know, we're sitting here and we're talking about the goddess all the time, but we're not really talking about the goddess in her sexual aspect. So I went to a festival with her, like a bunch of her students had gone, and Karuna Sessions was the name of the business, was one of the offerings she had. And I was really, really struck by people's responses. Like, there was this woman who came in and she was at the festival with her husband and her kids, and she was like, I signed up for this, but I don't know if I have time. I don't know if I could leave them. And, you know, we're like, well, just, you know, keep your appointment. You're here. Why don't you do it? And, you know, and we were just touching her for like 10 minutes, and she was just like, oh my God, this feels so good. And I just couldn't, you know, for years afterwards, I couldn't stop thinking about the experience because it was just so, her response was so profound. And so in 2012 or 2013, we started playing around with it, a friend of mine and I, and we ended up tweaking it, you know, and just kind of really dialing it in, you know, lots of little touches and tweaks, you know, that made it feel very smooth, and so yeah.
Do you have a background in like Reiki or massage or anything?
I do not. One of my gals that I worked with is a professional massage therapist. I mean, I do have a background in taking care of people, I guess, in terms of, like a lot of my assistant jobs, like admin jobs, I would really be taking care of my boss. And I've been a professional tarot reader on and off for about 20 years, so.
That too.
I'll give you my card when we're done.
Thanks. So then you wrote a whole book based about your experiences, but specifically for single people?
Correct. So, do you know much about cuddle parties?
I mean, we've facilitated cuddle spaces.
With people that you knew, or?
For strangers.
And tell me a little bit more about that. Like,
we just Alicia and I ended up making a lot of cuddle puddles in the early 2010s.
Nice.
Like for parties.
For events.
Oh yeah, or you'd just be like, okay, let's do it. Which is actually, it's so great to have something like that at a party because, oftentimes when people don't get touched a lot and, like they're out and they're, trying to meet people, it's like they just get so desperate and it's like, you can just cuddle with them for a while and they're like, okay, and then they're like open and they're happy and they're not grabby when they're getting drunk, and it's such a wonderful thing.
We did a cuddle puddle in Times Square one time, like at a party in Times Square. Yeah. And
that's so cool. I love it.
But we got in trouble because people. We didn't get in trouble. I mean, I got the feedback, like, whatever. People, like, kept doing sexual acts in it. So the lights kept getting turned on, and yeah. It was too comfortable. We made it too nice.
Yeah, it has to be fairly structured. So there's a lot in here that's kind of similar to a cuddle party, but it's more structured. And the idea is that you do it with people that you already know. Which is, people think about really touch. I mean, a lot of us will hug our friends hello or goodbye, but it's also, it can be really awkward, to do anything more, to like really be cuddling with somebody, there's, what does it mean and what do they want from me and all this stuff. So the idea is that, anytime you have people touching each other one-on-one, like we were talking about with Karuna sessions, it's easy to put it into a sexual context in your mind. So this is meant to be done with a group of at least 4 people, so that instead of it being a sexual activity, it becomes a social activity, which I'm sure y'all saw that a lot, just like people like, talking and laughing and goofing off and
people sleeping.
So it's basically, it takes you through the first part of the book is just kind of talking about touch and contextualizing it, like why is our culture so against this, why, people have different touch types, what does touch do to your body physically, what are, theories of touch, how do you touch somebody, it's like we don't, where do you touch them, all this kind of stuff. And then the second half of the book is a DIY workshop that you can do with your friends, from inviting them in the first place to, how to set up your space, and then how to run through this series of exercises. And then the idea is that when you're done with it, then you have this common frame of reference, so I could be like, hey, Jesse, you want to come over to my house and like, cuddle up on the couch and watch a movie? And you would be like, why is she asking me that? Because we would both know that was what I actually meant, right?
Yeah.
So so it takes people through that process, but
now I'm just thinking of all the times that it's like a bunch of people all sitting on a couch but nobody's touching, but they're all like, you're all homies, but you're all just like in your separate little nooks, right? And how much better it probably would have been to just be like, let's put all the pillows on the ground.
We used to do that when we were kids, right? Kids don't think twice about doing that.
No, kids are constantly touching.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I fall asleep with both my kids touching me and wake up with them touching me. It's like
Aww.
there's no separation ever.
So like for you, the idea of like going someplace and taking a nap by yourself is just sheer heaven.
So I don't know. I mean, they one day a week they go with their dad, and then I am alone, and it ends up being really hard actually. You know. So
Yeah,
it's
that's good
it's
for
just
you
like
too.
lose. But it's no, I enjoy it. I enjoy being so close with them, and I know it's not forever, so I try my best to
And
just savor it.
You're actually setting them up for great emotional regulation throughout their lives. I mean, they're going to be a lot healthier because of it, emotionally and mentally and physically, and yeah, it's beautiful. And I mean, something that I think about and talk about a lot is that if we lived 100 years ago before the advent of electricity, y'all would have been like sleeping in the bed every night together during winter, because if you didn't, you might freeze to death.
Yeah.
You know, wood's expensive, or, you know, hard to chop or what have you. And, you know, so that was how we evolved as a species. You know, we've always had to stay close to each other for warmth and safety.
Yeah.
So
Even just living, you know, we all lived collectively for so long. Like the nuclear family has only been really recent, and it's like super unhealthy for the most part.
oh god, yeah, I was raised in an extreme nuclear family, and yeah, it wasn't good. I
Yeah.
would have been a lot better off with a weird aunt or uncle around for sure. So I didn't get that.
Yeah, I'm all about that
I
life.
just think also about like other animals too. Like we're animals and like we're mammals. And you look at like pretty much every other mammal, and they're all laying around on top of each other all the time. Like they're always
Yeah.
laying on each other. Like if you have dogs, or you have cats, or you like the seals. When you're they're all up in each other's business. Like
Yeah.
especially to take naps and to sleep. Like they're not all like, you know.
Even
so-
my chickens
that
are
a
like
lot.
3 in
Sure.
a box. I'm like, why
Yeah.
are you all like this?
Because they want to be close to each other.
Yeah, they feel
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kid sleeps in my bed too.
I mean, I think that's one of the appeals of weighted blankets that people are
Yeah.
using all the time, is it's like we're used to having people on top of us and around us. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's like this is, our bodies know this feeling,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
There's
It
like
is
new
comforting.
compression sacks too that you can just climb into.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
tight
It just like wraps around your body. Hit us up if you've ever been in a compression sack. I want your feedback.
Yeah.
Or a weighted
Actually,
blanket.
Somebody gave me a weighted blanket off of my Buy Nothing group a couple months ago, and it was just too much for me. It just wasn't quite. I think maybe it was too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't feel like I could move under it, but I did get some decent night's sleep with that. It's not quite a tongue twister, but it's close.
It's a difficult one to
I know,
conjugate.
right?
Yeah, I could see you feeling actually kind of trapped too. It's a fun line.
Well, like I think if I had had a lighter one, I probably would have done better. You know, so I could have pressure, but not too much pressure.
Yeah.
You know, because I like to roll over a lot at night from side to side and things. So
Fair.
yeah.
So, how can people find your book if this calls to them?
I don't think it's for sale anywhere in town, but you can.
You should bring it to Sundance Books.
I should. Yeah, my father used to like single-handedly keep Sundance in business. I swear his library was insane. I should take it over there. But you know, you can find it on all the e-retailers. There's a paper version, there's a digital version, and there's also an audiobook version of it. And,
Nice.
Yeah, you can find it Amazon online and Barnes and Noble and
Everything you want, guys.
yeah.
So
all
what
the
are your
different formats.
aspirations for when you finish your masters? What do you want to use that to go on to do?
Oh man. So I spend a lot of time thinking about how to do public health without involving the government, because that just seems like craziness. So I kind of bounce back and forth between having businesses that provide touch, you know, like maybe I have a business where I have people who go to an old, like a retirement home, and, you know, just love up the old people. I mean, oh my God, I do this all the time. I have a friend who lives in a retirement home in Grass Valley, and, you know, like I'll be loving on the old people, and they're just like, this is so wonderful. I mean, they look like little kids again. So I kind of bounce back and forth between those kinds of things. I mean, I might revive Karuna sessions. I've actually thought about turning it into like a very high-end spa treatment. And then I've also thought about, so there's this idea of providing touch for people, and then there's the idea of creating curriculum so you could have a population where they're sharing touch with each other. So instead of having me go in and, you know, or me or somebody who works for me go in and actually doing the touch, it's like you set up a protocol and a system so that people can touch each other. You know, you do it in a very structured fashion, and that's going to look different for a, you know, group of retired people as opposed to like if you're a therapist and you're running a support group for people who've just had a death of a spouse, for instance, or somebody who's in rehab, or caregivers for Alzheimer's, or God, I mean, even, you know, like a hospital, you know, like people to go around and give touch to people who are coming out of surgery, or, you know, even actually, God, you know, even people like providing touch to your staff members because, you know, they're all burnt out and, you know,
just someone who comes in once a week and just is like, I'm so proud of you, and just hugs each one of us for like 15 minutes. Like goes into each office. They're like, you're doing great today.
Yeah.
I've heard about all the good work you've done all week.
I wish so.
Like,
I just the telling me I did a good job would be
enough for you.
But
would improve my
no,
life.
plus the touch,
So-
dude. That's
right,
the
yeah,
touch.
I mean, what if it was
I'm
like,
one of these people
sorry,
that's funny
I'm gonna
about
do it
No,
again.
go ahead.
I mean, you know, if I tell you like you're doing a good job and I'm putting your hand
See,
out.
I'm one of these people that's like strange about like people touching me.
Oh my
in
God,
ways
I'm sorry.
sometimes.
Why?
No,
So,
it's okay.
No, but
It's
why
just-
didn't you say no?
I don't mind because like contextually it's not.
Jesse's over here going, okay, well you could have been like
It's not
touching me the whole
bothersome.
time, right?
It's not, but like it doesn't.
It's fine.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I always have been funny about it. See, when you were talking about the whole thing with the pandemic, how people aren't as huggy anymore,
You
I
were
was
like,
I'm
woo!
I mostly don't want people to hug me and stuff, and I don't know if that's just because of how I was raised. Like it's kind of I was raised in kind of like a colder household in that way, and I also like have certain like I don't know if it's part of like the like what the spectrum of the way in which I am like neurodivergent, you know, like I don't know, but it took me a long time to learn to be like I was in my 20s, you know, to be like touchy with people at all. Like it's like a thing. It's yeah. I have a hard time being comfortable too sometimes when I'm like when I'm touching someone. I'm not, I often feel like I'm worried, like if I'm cuddling with someone, I'm thinking a lot about like, I'll often be uncomfortable, but I'll feel like I shouldn't move, and like I feel like I get really in my head, and I have a hard time just like being comfortable.
Yeah.
So
If I'm the little
I'm very
spoon,
weird about it.
I would prefer to be the big spoon.
Yeah, I like to be the big spoon.
Yeah, being a little
it's
spoon.
more controlled.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can control like where I am and stuff. So
Yeah.
that I like, but like I got a body pillow recently, and that has been amazing. I love that because it's not a person.
Yeah.
I like drag it around the house and be like, Linus, it's just weird. I think I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
My husband calls it my girlfriend.
Oh.
He's like, oh, you're gonna bring your girlfriend.
I thought it's
a lizard. It's a sexy space lizard.
Yeah.
It's got a lizard on it. It's from the FurCon.
Oh, that sounds so
I
cute.
love it. It's so comfortable. It's as long as me. I'm 5'2" and it's 5 feet long. So it's as big as me.
You can.
It's like big to carry around. I'm like, ooh, okay. But I carry it from my bed to the living room so I can like cuddle with it while I watch TV, and then I take it back to bed and go to sleep.
You know, it
It's
sounds
very
perfect.
soothing. The amount of like sensory comfort that I get from owning this pillow, I would have never predicted. Would have gotten one 10 years ago.
There you go. Everybody go
Yeah.
get anthropomorphic, sexy lizard body
It
pillow,
can be
y'all.
whatever you're into. It doesn't have to
Doesn't
be
have
a
to be.
space lizard.
Doesn't have to be a scaly.
That is kind of my. I'm like, yeah. I'm just cuddling the space lizard, reading Becky Chambers. You know, it's fine. It's a sci-fi author who like writes these books with like different alien species that, and like there's a lizard species that's very, and risks that are very like a commonly. Anyway, I'm getting too far into
No, it's
this
great.
right
It's
now.
great.
No. I'm always looking for good sci-fi women writers.
Yeah, it's
for
fantastic.
Sure, for
Very,
sure.
very like upbeat kind of like, which is nice. Like I read a lot of like really hard sci-fi, and it's not that, but it's I like it a lot. I like her writing a lot. It's very
Cool.
queer, and I don't know, it's good.
Nice. Nice.
Gay sci-fi. There's nothing else you really want.
I'm sure you've read N.K. Jemisin then,
I
yeah?
have not.
Oh my god. Oh my god, yeah, you have to.
Okay.
Yeah, she's really amazing.
I think that my husband has.
Yeah.
But he reads like 20 books to every my one. He's insane. He's a very voracious reader.
Yeah.
But so is Sprocket. They're both really heavy readers.
I've been trying really hard. Oh my god, we could be here all night talking about books, y'all. I've been trying really hard to read before bed, and because I read so much. I like reading paper books again because I spend so much time in front of the computer reading research articles, and I'm like, oh, this is brutal. But I'm reading Kim Stanley Robinson right now.
Yeah.
I'm reading New York 2140. Have you read that
I
one?
have not read that
That's
one.
pretty interesting. If I ever finish slogging through it, I'll bring it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah,
I
it's
read
great.
the Mars trilogy
yeah.
by him is
Yeah,
like
totally,
one of my
totally.
favorite
Same.
things
Yeah.
I've ever read.
Have you ever read Marge Piercy's Woman on the Edge of Time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it's probably like my favorite
Okay.
utopian novel.
I have a
So good.
I have a hard sci-fi
Sounds
reading
amazing.
list that's public on Amazon. So if you want to add to it, you can.
Yeah, totally. That would be great.
I have to look at it.
Yeah, I think it's Olivia Butler, right?
Octavia Butler.
Octavia Butler.
Mhm.
Yeah, she really writes about things in such a different way than I've ever really thought about them as far as space, and I just was blown away by
know
that.
if I've ever read any of her sci-fi. I read Parable of the Sower. Somebody gave it to me, and they're like, "I read this book and thought of you." And I had read it once before, and I read it again. I was like, "Why did you think of me when you read this book?" I'm like, it's so heartbreaking.
No, I've never read it.
Oh,
I've heard it's sad.
it's intense. It's really
it's
intense.
like hard to read or whatever.
Yeah, it is. It is. But
How come you came back to UNR to do your master's?
I'm actually not going to school at UNR. I go to school online at the University of South Florida. It's apparently it's one of only 2 or 3 social marketing programs in the world. But I came back, my family's here. I wanted to my mother's aging, so I wanted to be able to spend more time with her. And then I have a 10-year-old niece.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, who doesn't hug me nearly as much as she used to. She's too cool for that, I guess, anymore. But yeah, I live in the house I grew up in, which is really amazing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it's been interesting being back. Kind of got a mix of friends that I knew when I lived here growing up, and I lived here for 3 or 4 years when I was an adult as well. And then I'm meeting new people all the time, which is super fun. And
Sweet.
yeah.
So now you're being the cool weird aunt that you wish you had.
Oh yeah, totally, 100%. Yeah, like
Yeah, same.
my brother and sister-in-law are fairly normal, so I'm like, I need to make sure that my niece turns into a weirdo.
Or at least knows it's an option.
She tells me that weird is a compliment. I'm like,
Yes.
my work here is done.
My weird aunt really shaped me so much. I'm like really grateful for her, and I didn't even see her that often, like just a couple times, like throughout formative years, but she just gave me a glimpse into a different kind of life, and I was like, I didn't know this shit was possible. You can like live communally and like shop at the co-op and have a girlfriend. Holy shit.
You're like, I'm interested in your product or service.
Like,
yeah, that's really nice. So yeah, I'm really shocked that I live here again. I didn't think I ever would. I mean, I've been in and out of town. I'm always here. I've been here several times a year ever since I moved, but yeah.
not the same to be back. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, now my mother can call me when her printer doesn't work and things like that. And I can she lives 5 minutes away from me, so I can just hop over and help
Nice.
her out with that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't know if I'll have this opportunity again. So
Yeah, I think about that a lot because my whole family's in New Jersey and my grandmother's going through chemo right now, and I'm constantly like racked with that like feeling of like, oh, like should I just go back home? Like how much time is there gonna be?
yeah,
It's tough.
yeah, I know it's hard. I mean, I think about that too with like people whose families live on the other side of the world and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And, especially if they don't have people here that that they can count on to grieve and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it's so hard.
yeah, it really is. It really is. It's one of our one of the many things of our disjointed lives.
Yeah, I was just reading whatever side tangent, but similar. There's like a bunch of accounts of people who took this one transport ship from Germany for all these displaced persons during World War II. And it's like the ship my grandfather took, and I just like randomly was researching and came on it, and it's all these like first person accounts of the journey and all of them like leaving their home place and like how long they stayed on the deck, like even way after the land was gone. Like all of these immigrants just stood there and like watched because they knew they would never come back, and how my family never got to go back. So just like what you're saying, like leaving places and just being disconnected and never getting to say goodbye. It's like, ugh, so hard.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but it's so common. I mean,
yeah.
Actually, what was it? There was a really fun statistic. Well, not really fun. In my class the other day, it was like when bubonic plague hit Europe, because people were on foot or on horseback, it took it like 2.5 years to make it across the continent from Italy to, Germany and England and stuff. And, now it's like if there's some sort of viral outbreak,
So
24
fast.
hours, bam, completely circulated. So
The plus and minus of globalization.
yeah. Well, it's interesting. There's like they talk. There's kind of two schools of thought around public health, and one is like, ooh, let's do all the surveillance and catch these infectious diseases as they come out, and then the other school of thought is, well, maybe we should like try improving the living conditions of people who live in places and ways that infectious diseases break out, and so we don't get as many of them in the world.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that way. That's part of the reason I don't want to do public health with the government, because it's like we need systemic change, and we're not interested or willing to make it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do public health in the business sector. So
Interesting.
yeah, somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
So if people are interested and they want to just like find out more, or like
Yeah.
what's the best way? I did put your email on here.
Okay, great.
That's okay.
Yeah, and then I have a website, the Nurturing Human Touch, that's got info about the books. It's got
Hold it like a baby.
stuff about Karuna sessions. It's got different interviews and articles and things like that. Stuff that I've written, blog posts, and because I've been thinking about it for a long time. Let's see. So there's a page for Somebody Hold Me on Facebook, and there's another page for Karuna Sessions on Facebook, and then somebody _hold_me is on Instagram, and
Cool.
I post all kinds of weird ramblings there, where I think of some aspect or element of human touch. I haven't been posting very much. I want to get back into it just because it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm around.
Great.
What was the process of writing the book? Was it hard?
This is where the journalism degree comes in handy. I wrote the first draft of that in about 4 to 6 weeks by sitting down. I had an outline, and I would go for a walk in the morning, and I would kind of noodle and think about what I wanted to write, and then I came home and set a timer for 30 minutes and wrote. And then it went through a couple more edits, like feedback from beta readers, and then I gave it to a professional editor, and that one took about 3 months
Cool.
to do that rewrite and stuff. But I learned to write fast and well, so it was that's if somebody asks me like what my main mode of creativity is, it's writing. It just comes really easily to me. I was telling my academic advisor this morning, I've had a really hard time just kind of like squelching down my personality and trying to write professionally for papers and stuff. I just wanna be colorful and goofy, and I do it a little tiny bit, but yeah, so.
Rad, super impressive.
Oh, thank you. But I mean, something, I don't know, 700 or 800 books are published every day. It's crazy now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Believe
That's
it.
cool. So much information.
I used to work at a publishing spot in Chelsea, New York for a minute.
Oh, nice.
When I was in college, that was like my internship because I was also going to be a journalist.
Yeah, and you went through school and decided that wasn't for you, or?
I graduated during the economic downturn, and they let all of these people from New York Times, and that was like my dream job and stuff. And I was just like, oh, this is not gonna actually work out, I guess.
It's really changing a lot right now, the way that people consume news, and
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's just our world's just changing so quickly. Yeah.
every day. Do you have any advice that you would give either like a person who's wants to write something, or a person who wants to get into this kind of work?
Yeah, so I think as far as writing goes, I am a really big advocate of kind of journaling or free writing, where you start with a question or a phrase and you just write, and you don't pick your pen off the paper for 10 or 15 minutes, so that it's like you can really get it flowing. I think with a lot of forms of creativity, people get really fixated on having to get it right, or if I'm doing a painting, I need to paint something that I can hang on the wall or sell or something, and it's like, well, what's just about the creative process, about being joyful and playful and having fun, like you would when you were a kid. So there's that. If people are interested in becoming professional cuddlers, there's several different people who have trainings of different sorts. Cuddlist is probably the big one. They have a training that they go through. I work with a woman out of LA. Her outfit is called Cuddle Sanctuary, and she's got a training for how to become a professional cuddler. And I have another friend, Snuggle with Sam, who's more like focused on the business stuff, like about how to market and set up your systems and things like that. I also did training with it's called the Institute of Mind Body Therapy, and they train surrogate partners. I don't know if you know much about that, or it's a triadic model of therapy. So like you would have the client, the therapist, and the surrogate, and they would all work together. So because the therapist can't touch their client, so surrogate partner work is for like for instance, like somebody who's a late life virgin who wants to learn how to have sex. So there's like this whole series of sessions that you go through with it, and they don't even do penis and vagina sex until the very, very last one. It's about exploring your body and exploring touch and all these things. So the client would go to the surrogate, and then the surrogate would report back to the therapist, and then the client goes back to the therapist, and they process and they talk about their session, and then the therapist can be like, hey, next time focus on this or work on this. So I had that same sort of training in how to work with therapists, how to work with their clients, giving them touch, and then being able to give that information back, writing a report for the therapist so that they can talk about it afterwards. So they've got some good stuff to learn as well.
Mind Body Institute.
Institute for Mind Body Therapy.
Institute for Mind Body
But
Therapy. Cool.
the stuff that's very specific for professional cuddlers, I would say Cuddlist, Cuddle Sanctuary, or Snuggle with Sam. You can get different things from each of their trainings. So
Cool. If you want
Yeah.
to become a cuddler, if that calls
people
to you.
need it. Boy, do they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. Lots and lots of touch-deprived people out there. And then there's the people who don't want to be touched too. There's
There's
well,
the lizard people who just
The
want
lizard.
people.
yeah, they just want to
my.
I also I have a toddler that, or not toddler, he's 4, but he touches me all the time. So
Yeah, so
It
you
does
get touched
get-
out.
I get touched out really easily.
Mhm.
I
do
was pretty much all the time when he was a baby.
Yeah.
I was like constantly because it's too.
I'm telling you,
It's a lot.
new mothers freaking loved what we were doing.
That
It
sounds
was just
lovely. Like the ritualistic nature of it,
Mhm.
it appeals
It's-
to me a lot.
It's really beautiful.
Because then it's like I like things like that where it's like so highly structured and there's not a pressure on me. I think I feel a pressure that is hard to let go of.
That's
For a
fair.
lot of those interactions.
Pressure from your kid?
No, from
Oh.
whoever like being like in a cuddling situation.
Oh, yeah.
To be like
That's actually really common though, you know, it's like so many times we get worried about how the other person is responding or reacting
yeah,
instead
I
of
can't
thinking about our
not.
own experience.
yeah, it's really hard for me to let
I understand.
So it being something where it's so ritualized and I'm just supposed to like let
you're just supposed
happen.
to lay there and
Is
like,
appealing.
yeah.
Just receive.
We used to, after we would pull out of our cuddle, we would take a body pillow and drape the client over it so that they could lay on the bed for a few minutes and just be jello before they had to get up. So
Nice. Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here.
yeah,
This
thank
was
you for
so
having me.
interesting.
Yeah, you're such
I
an
love it.
interesting-
Yeah, I'm glad you came back to Reno.
Yeah, I am too. It's been surprisingly good, and I have an elderly friend who's pretty sick right now, so it's good to spend time with her and my niece and my mother, and yeah, it's been really good. So
Nice.
groovy.
Cool. I want to hang out more.
Yeah, definitely. We will be in touch for sure.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna sound. Maybe it's like whatever that I know. But we were at the same event recently, the like Whisper Church.
Oh yeah,
And I just
and
came in. I went, oh, I saw you there. I thought you looked interesting, and
Well,
I remembered you from that.
But you were here at the open house like 2 days before
Yes.
because I looked at you.
Yes.
And that was you're the metalsmith and you have all that amazing jewelry out there, yeah.
No, that's a different
Oh,
person.
that's not you. Okay. But yeah, I actually when I saw you walk in that Friday night and I was like, I just saw her on Wednesday and I was
Yeah.
with my housemate and she's like,
Yeah,
oh, I
yeah.
see that girl too. So
We're around. Reno's a small town.
Reno's
it
so small.
is. Yeah.
It's nice though.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go into Instagram roundup because you can stay where you are. You
Okay.
don't have to
I
move.
will
Or you can
also
leave.
sneak out.
You can sneak out. This is a good time to sneak out.
actually I'm gonna sneak out.
Okay,
Do
go
it.
for it.
Do
Thank
it.
y'all
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much.
having me.
Have a great night. It was lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for the
All
book.
right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So Instagram roundup. We're gonna
Yeah.
bust it out because we're over time already. Amazingly.
I know. Let's get it. Tomorrow is our Color Zine release party at Radical Cat, and I'm finally going to be at Radical Cat. I've never been there.
Yeah,
Have
me
you?
too.
You've never been there either?
Nope.
Nice.
I'm
Queer
afraid I'll end up adopting another cat. That's okay.
queer feminist bookstore.
Last time we went to a cat adoption event for Signal Boost, I adopted a cat.
It's tough not
And it was a
to.
great decision. He's awesome.
Yeah, love him. But it's free, all ages, art supplies. The theme for the fall zine is life and death. So you should totally come and make a life and death zine page and then see our new zine that we're putting out.
Yes.
Okay, other things that you should know about
There's a bunch of them.
if they load. You can now reserve your Burning Man bikes at the Reno Bike Project. If you need a little playa bike, they have lots that are being offered. I also have a few if you need. Hit me up. Oh, I'm really excited about the show. I'm going to go on Saturday. It's a folk punk band from
Oh,
New
Charlie
Orleans.
Marks.
Yeah, it's
Yay.
folk punk band from New Orleans, and then my
This
banjo
looks
teacher.
fun. Maybe I'll come.
Okay, I guess. And my banjo teacher,
Look, I
Charlie.
can go to the same event. You don't
Yeah,
hang out
it's
with
fine.
me.
We don't have to talk. And then John Underwood, who's amazing. And I don't know pastel panties, but I bet they're gonna be sick. No, you can. I want you to come with me.
Whatever.
I'm gonna be there giving out posters for Neutral Ground. But I wanted Dusty Ruckus to come and play Neutral Ground, but they're leaving for SF the next day. So maybe next
Maybe
time.
another time.
Yeah, it's gonna be hella fun. If you like banjo and punk and street musicians, it's gonna be a ruckus.
It's gonna be a ruckus.
Oh, ruckus. Renoites, our friend Connor. He's gonna do a live taping of Renoites at Black Rabbit Mead, and it seems really cool with this bluegrass guy, who's also
Awesome.
part of Base Camp. Nice. Oh, look at this.
Boucher confections.
Yes. I just want this chocolate. I guess they're a local pastisserie? How does it
Patisserie.
Patisserie? That I've never
Is this a
even
patisserie, though?
I've never even heard of. Isn't that how it goes?
Well, patisserie is like pastries.
Yeah, chocolates and confections.
Confectionery. Confectionery.
Confectionery. Look at it.
Beautiful.
Oh my god, I want to eat those
Really
things.
nice.
Yes. Trying to just spotlight more local businesses. So this is
High
over.
tea service for Saturday of every month. How cute.
Oh my god, we should do that. Elliot really wants to do a princess tea. That is
Perfect.
hella cute. Okay, we're going. Everyone, let's go to tea.
Let's go.
Our town also, they just opened not that long ago, and I met the owner and chef, and it was so bomb. And he's really funny and sweet,
That's beautiful.
and you should definitely go there. It's by Peppermill.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it's everything he makes is bomb.
It
It's
looks
literally like you put a bite in your mouth of anything, and you're just like, damn.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we should go. Good lunch specials.
Green team volunteers.
Garlic Festival. If you want to do fun volunteering, it's about time to pull that garlic, y'all. I cut all the scapes off my garlic plants, and then I fried it up with some linguine and balsamic cherry tomatoes and
Wow.
mozzarella cheese, and it was banging.
Sounds banging.
I'm also hungry, guys. Can you tell? Rocking on the River.
On the river.
Yeah, cute things happening in Sparks once a month. The next one's about to come up.
Coming up fast. It's tomorrow.
Cornhole, food trucks, free swag.
Swag.
Sierra Arts is doing their festival this weekend. That'll be cool. Food trucks, live
Field
music,
Park.
tons of artisans, kids activities. If you're
Mhm.
looking for something to do this weekend.
Mhm.
And then also this weekend is
Neutral
Neutral Ground.
ground.
And my friend Scott made this. It's from the last Neutral Ground. He's really proud of it. And he also even wrote the music and then recorded it, every instrument of it.
Wow. It's really good. It was really fun. Love the kids too.
Yeah, it's a really good time and it's free, all
They
ages.
were spray painting.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we got 3 dope bands plus 775 food truck. It's gonna be great.
775 is good too.
Yeah, that's all we got. We'll just end with
Right.
my little peep. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I hope I see you at Neutral Ground on Sunday, 2 to 6.
We're Radical Cat tomorrow.
Radical Cat tomorrow from 6 to 9. Bye.